Miami lands Malik Willis, 3 years, 67.5 million, 22.5 million a year. Bob, are they crazy or crazy like a fox?
It's one of those. Well, like, so this is the rub. Like, first of all, we know they released Tua Tagovailoa, or they've told me he'll be released. It'll be official Wednesday. They're $99 million in the hole. So as I thought about this heading into the day, I thought, well, man, they might be better off with, somebody at maybe a Geno Smith, maybe one of the minimum guys for a year while they rebuild and figure it out. But this was always, like, it's obvious. It seems like to me the most obvious of the landing spots. And I know there are connections with Arizona. People talked about that with Mike LaFleur, the coach of the Cardinals, being brothers with Matt, who, by the way, let's just think about this. We've got a guy in Malik Willis with 6 career starts, 3 with the Titans, 3 with the Packers. In Tennessee, they were not good. No touchdowns, 3 interceptions, completed half his passes, averaged 4.5 yards attempt. When he got the opportunities in Green Bay, he's made 11 overall appearances, 3 starts. He looked way better. 78.6% of the pass completions, 972 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, added 3 rushing touchdowns. Looked phenomenal. Let's not overlook coaching, people. It's a great thing. But I mean, nobody else knew him. Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan, the coach and GM in Miami, like whatever Matt LaFleur is going to tell his brother Mike about them, those guys had firsthand experience, saw it on the field, saw the growth, saw how he accepted the coaching. And I mean, when you're taking a gamble like this, because it is, right? I mean, you're rolling the dice. You're already in the hole at quarterback. You want to set yourself back for another 2 years. And I think it's a reasonable price, Sig, $22 million a year. I think it could have gone higher. I wouldn't have been surprised had the bidding gone higher. This is an interesting circumstance. I think for him, it's a great opportunity to excel on a team that's obviously rebuilding, starting from scratch. So I guess that kind of is to temper our expectations going in. But there are some good pieces they're building around in the form of Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, that was the talk for the last couple of months. They're rebuilding or resetting, but they see these guys. Achane probably going to get an extension. Waddle already got his second contract as long-term cornerstones. One good thing about this landing spot for Malik Willis is that, number one, there's continuity. Even though there was a coaching change and a GM change, the offensive coordinator is Bobby Slowick, who worked with Mike McDaniel at many stops. What's going to happen to the Mike McDaniel offense? Really didn't go anywhere. Bobby Slowick is going to.
It's a San Francisco style offense,
right? Which is where Matt LaFleur. That's where Matt LaFleur came from. So there's a sense that Malik Willis is already fluent in this offense, and then you saw, look. Malik Willis wasn't just thrown in games that were just determining draft position in the top 10. He was thrown in for a team playing for a playoff spot, and I can buy. So I'm going to come in on the side of like, this is a tremendous move for Miami. And I suppose maybe Arizona was just being used to help drive up the price. And I want Malik Willis. I'm glad he got generational wealth, because why I can buy into this, Bob, is that if you go back 4 years when Malik Willis was in the draft, there were people, credible people, okay, not people who has agents just put stuff for them to put out there, credible independent voices saying, hey, Malik Willis could be a top 10 pick in the draft. Why? Well, you can see it. And Trey Lance went in the top 10 with a similar profile. Kyler Murray went number 1 with a similar profile. Anthony Richardson went number 4 with a similar profile, which is the tools are just ungodly. Josh Allen, even you could argue, went top 10 with a similar profile, like ungodly tools. Can he play the position in the NFL? We'll see. But Adam Harstad, who is probably, there's a lot of smart people, football guys, but man, I'm intimidated by Adam Harstad. Yeah. And he always points back to the Cowboys using the number 1 pick 2 years in a row on a quarterback, and how in a vacuum that might seem insane, or taking 2 quarterbacks in the first round in one draft or something like that. But, again, look at the Washington and Griffin and Cousins, right? The quarterback pinata has the tastiest candy, and you should take as many swings if you don't have one.
And when you miss, it's ruinous. It can be ruinous if you don't have the other one.
Right. And this isn't like the Tua price where the 99 million dead cap price. Yes, you could turn this money into a starter at another position, but there's some evidence that Malik Willis is a good quarterback, or at least a good quarterback in these kind of surroundings. And if you hit on this, because the idea is you want a quarterback. Don't be afraid of paying a quarterback $50 million a year because of what happened with Tua, et cetera, Kyler Murray, and so on. But try to aim to get the right guy for the 50 million. And he very well could be that guy. I've seen enough evidence that I'm open to the possibility, Bob.
I am as well. And like, again, you're not paying the high end of the quarterback price range for a guy who may perform at the top end of the quarterback price range. For our purposes, it's fantasy investors.
Oh,
the rushing equity is off the charts, right? So it's a perfect situation for us. Well, just, not for nothing, but, and I guess Bobby Slowick might not be easy to get along with, but he got great results with CJ Stroud as a rookie, right? CJ Stroud, rookie of the year, had a phenomenal season, super productive, thinking that we can figure something out with Malik Willis. With just enough pieces, he's got a good starter kit there. Like I said, I think this is like, to me, Arizona. And by the way, the Cardinals just signed Tyler Algier. So I've had questions about Benson since the knee, since he aggravated in practice last November, right? Like, I remember the day, and it was being covered by one of the locals. I said, we're not paying enough attention to this, and we never saw him again. So ominous. Trey Benson, it's ominous right now, because I was waiting to hear something at the combine that maybe he had another procedure or something. We never heard anything, but that shoe may drop at some point. But now we have Tyler Algier joining James Conner in that backfield. But going back to Malik Willis, I do think this is someone that fantasy investors are going to chase just for that rushing upside. Once he gets on the field, what's going to stop him? I mean, I think this is the kind of high end potential you're going to get at bargain prices. They can be the kind of league winning play at reasonable discounts.
Yeah, I mean, even taking him as high as like quarterback 6, quarterback 7, because it's like on the flow chart, Bob. Like the Dolphins suck. That leads to Malik Willis scoring a lot of fantasy points. The Dolphins are actually better than expected. That leads to Malik Willis scoring. That doesn't really matter the range of outcomes. Now, I like how you pivoted to Arizona though, because that was the other team. Yeah. So now we've got Jacoby Brissett. Is that Michael Wilson folks would love that. Should we assume Jimmy Garoppolo? If it is Jimmy Garoppolo, because his great connection with Mike LaFleur, who should we favor in a hypothetical Garoppolo Brissett battle? And if it is Garoppolo, is there going to be a severe drop off from those garbage time numbers from last year?
Well, I would be banging the drum for Jacoby Brissett for the obvious reasons. And I'm guessing Trey McBride would be there with me. Michael Wilson also. Turn those guys into super viable. Well, not that they were viable. Turn Michael Wilson into a viable, a player realistically able to put up wide receiver 1 numbers any given week. But the problem was obvious. The Cardinals were what, 1 in a bunch without him, 1 in 11 or something with Brissett as the starter. And Brissett's history doesn't speak of great NFL success for his franchises. So that's going to be the issue. I don't know that Garoppolo does either. I don't know that he enthuses me or excites me. This is a 1-year stopgap either way. And the only hope is, can they get something together that keeps the fantasy value? Like I'm already drafting, Sigmund. You'll be surprised to learn. I'm out there running in the best ball mean streets. And, Trey McBride's rarely making it out of round 1, never making it past the first couple picks of round 2. We're paying the historic premium for him. I'm loath to do that because it's historic premium, because historic stuff doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
Last year was phenomenal. 169 targets. The touchdown totals were phenomenal. But if I was paying that, I don't know that I'd feel nearly as good with Garoppolo as the quarterback that I would with Brissett, just because I've seen it.
Yeah, and I had earlier this in February, Bob. I wrote 9 players you should trade for right away in Dynasty. The idea being don't wait, because any day there could be news like Breece Hall. Oops. Josh Downs, that one's looking pretty good. Trying to get out ahead of what's going to happen. And then I had 7 players last week. I wrote 7 players to sell right now. And 3 of them were Cardinals. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, and Trey Benson. The Benson one's looking good. Now we'll see about the others. Part of it was because I thought just the percentage chance there was that Malik Willis. I mean, Jalen Waddle could be okay because he's one target. But if Malik Willis became the starting quarterback in Arizona, that would greatly lower expectations for Trey McBride. And,
I think so.
And Marvin Harrison, I think, just I'm tucking a lot in here, Bob, but when you were trying to come up with a way to encapsulate Michael Wilson, another way we could do it is he looked like the player we thought Marvin Harrison was going to be. Whoa. So get out of Marvin Harrison one way or the other while there's still some trailing perception that he's going to be a number one wide receiver in the NFL. But also, this is, like you said, an offense that peaked in terms of the output and the numbers. Even with Jacoby Brissett or Jimmy Garoppolo, the arrow is most likely pointing down. We can only go down from here. And really, I'd say just wait and take Brock Bowers, who's going to be the Raiders JSN around later.
Right. Is it? This is like I think this play in general, this and some of the quarterback plays that are going to come. We'll see what happens. Atlanta talking about Tua Tagovailoa as their possible bridge. That 1.3 million. We'll see Geno Smith with the 1.3 million. I don't know. Maybe he's a possibility in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe either of those. Or maybe the Jets too. The Jets, Arizona,
Pittsburgh,
Cleveland.
They're going to wait around for Aaron Rodgers, right?
They're going to wait, and it seems like they're content to see what Will Howard is if they miss out on the quarterback class.
Will Howard throwing to Mike. Whoa, wait. That's going to a preview for our next live reaction. Again, thanks, everybody, for being part of our community and for giving us the opportunity to do this. Even though football is so many months away, stuff's happening that we're going to look back at these moments as the butterfly wings that lead to those hurricanes that we watch so riveted to our television screens, our fantasy lineups. So thank you, folks, for giving that opportunity to us. And like we say in New Orleans, it's not bye, it's see you later.